Welcome back, everybody, to Taste of Asia at Home. I know a couple of the subscribers have been asking for me to post a new video. Today we're going to revisit an old favorite, sweet and sour pork. And I've been busy working here in Ocean City, and this is the first chance I've had to post something new. So I'm going to go through the steps to make the batter that you fry the sweet and sour pork with, and then we'll make the sauce, the sweet and sour sauce, and put it all together. So I hope you enjoy this video. Okay, you can see on the cutting board here I have laid out the ingredients we're going to use for the batter. It's a 4-to-1 ratio of flour to cornstarch. So I have 1 cup of flour, 1/4 cup of cornstarch, and I have about a level teaspoon of baking powder, a leavening agent, and I also have a teaspoon of salt. So what we're going to do is, I have a cup of water here. We're going to whisk this together, and we'll see how you just add water to this until it comes to the consistency of like a thick batter. It's because you want it to stick to the to whatever you're frying. This batter, you can use this for chicken strips. You can use it for shrimp. And I started with 1 cup of water in the mixing cup, and we're going to see how much we use to get it to the right consistency. You'll see this is a little thick, so you just add it gradually until you get it to the consistency that you want. When you dip a piece of chicken in here or a piece of shrimp, you want it to stick to the chicken or the shrimp and just kind of like run off slowly. So, and then we're going to add just a touch of a secret to this is you add a little bit of oil, and it gives it a shiny coating, nice smooth texture on whatever you're frying. So that's about the consistency you want. And let's see what's left. About 1/3 of a cup of water is left from 1 cup, so it's like 2/3 of a cup of water. And then you'll see I have this bottle here. I'm just going to drizzle a few drops of any type of cooking oil and whisk it together. And there you have it. That's your batter. And now, this is a package of pork. It was boneless pork. That's about maybe 1/2 to 3/4 inch thick slices. What I'm going to do with this is cut it up in chunks. It doesn't have to be exact, something about this size. So you just go around and cut it up. And there's some water that's left in this this bowl here. So just I'm going to drain off. This is going to make a lot, actually. You can probably feed maybe 6 to 8 people with this. It's very lean pork. Okay, I have it all cut up in, say, like 1-inch squares, chunks. I'll drain the rest of that juice off of there, and then I'll put it back in. And then you can just add your batter on top of it. What I'll do is I'll mix it up with my hands. It's very simple. Once you make this batter and you coat all your pork, and you're ready to begin the frying process. What you'll do is you'll fry this 2 times. You fry it once, and you'll have a light brown. And then once you fry it, you can drain it on some paper towels. You can keep this in your refrigerator, and it keeps for like maybe 4 or 5 days. And then you can refry it until it gets nice and crispy, and then put the sauce on it. the sweet and sour sauce, and serve it over rice. So once you have it pre-fried, you can use it for like 1 or 2 days, or two meals. So next up will be we're going to fry it, and then I'll show you how to whisk together that sweet and sour sauce that I have in one of my other videos. But we'll do it again, and I'll show you how you can change it around. Okay, my oil is hot, and we're about ready to go. I'm going to show you how I test the oil, and then also you can see, I'm going to swing the camera around so you can see the setup I have here. There's the wok. If you're worried about your wok wobbling, put it on a wok stand. I don't have that problem. Over there is the container with the sweet and sour pork we're going to fry. And then right next to the wok on the counter, I have a sheet pan with some paper towels on it. So let's get this party started. The way I test it is I take my hand, dip it in the batter, and let the batter drop. You see it comes up right away, which indicates the oil is hot. And then you just grab 3 or 4 pieces in your hand, as much as you can control. Keep your hand close to the oil and push them off one at a time. And you want to keep the reason why you keep your hands close to the oil is because the further away you are from the surface of the oil, if you happen to drop a piece, it'll splash and the oil will burn you. So you're kind of almost like laying it in. And I'll just put one more piece in here, just so you get the idea of it. And you can go over to the sink and you can rinse your fingers off so you can see, after you rinse the batter off your hands, it takes a second at the sink, you can push these pieces around. The idea is you kind of have to figure the thickness of your pork and how long you're going to leave it in there to get it done. As long as your oil is not too hot, it won't get really brown that fast. So you'll leave it in there enough, maybe a minute or 2, and then pull it out, and then it won't be real brown. Like you'll see now, this is how one of the pieces looks, right? So what I'll do is I'll be sure the pork is cooked inside. After being in oil, it's 350 degrees for 2 minutes. If you have a piece of pork that's like a 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch thick, that pork is going to be done in the center. If you notice that the pork is kind of just laying there, not frying, turn your temperature up on your burner. If it's getting brown too fast, you turn the temperature down. Right now, this burner is set on in between 7 and 8. Once I bring the oil up to temperature on high, I reduce it a couple of notches. It becomes light brown, like now, and you'll scoop it up. Remember, this is the pan I have sitting next to it. You place your pieces. So what you'll do, like, this is for tomorrow's dinner actually. I'm going to make this, and I'm going to make the sauce. And then I will heat the oil up to hot tomorrow. And then I will put the pork back in until it's crispy, crunchy, and golden brown. And then add the sauce at the last minute. Okay, now I'm going to show you something else that's handy to have around the kitchen. It's one of these little fry daddies. You know, because I just took the oil out of this fry daddy. Actually, I just changed it, so it's pretty clean. But after you're done frying your sweet and sour pork, you can just take this wok, lift it, and carefully bring it back into your fry daddy. And I left about, I guess you'll see that there's a little bit of oil left in there. We're going to start to use that to make our sauce. We're not even going to clean that wok. Okay. So I showed you measuring on the other part of the video. This we're going to kind of do improvise a different kind of like a sweet and sour sauce. And basically, basics for sweet and sour sauce, you need something sour and something sweet. So you can use vinegar, you can use a lemon, anything that has that a sour taste to it. So I had a lime in the fruit drawer. I'm going to use half of a lime. And I'm going to throw 2 cloves of garlic in there. I'm going to squeeze the juice of half a lime. And then you want to say 1/4 cup of ketchup. Cup of water. And here's something you see in the, you can see how popular this is with me. It's sriracha. And some of your American restaurants are using this sriracha sauce now too. It's becoming very popular. You also see it in any Vietnamese noodle shop that sells the pho noodles, because people use this as a condiment. People that like a little kick, so we're going to add a little kick to it. We'll just give it a squirt, maybe a teaspoon, I'd say. What you'll do is you'll just whisk this up. And remember, the only thing you haven't added now is your sugar. So instead of measuring all the time, you know, you'll see Rachel Ray and other people who on Food Network, they don't really measure. They put a dash of this, a dash of that. So it's good to learn how to taste things. What you want to do is you want to add enough sugar so it's not sour. You know, it has like a little bit of tang to it, but it has a little bit of sweetness. So when this comes to a boil, what you'll do is you'll add sugar. I have 1/4 of a cup here, roughly. But I'm just going to add it and then taste it. And when I get it to the point where I want it, I will thicken it with a little bit of cornstarch suspension. But what you'll wind up with, you wind up with a sweet and sour sauce that has a little bit of garlic flavor from the 2 cloves of garlic, and also a little bit of kick from the sriracha. And that will go on top of the sweet and sour pork. And if you want to, you know, you can add color. If you want to make it more colorful, you can add a little bit of the red food coloring to it, like they do in Chinese restaurants when they make the sweet and sour sauce. But that's basically your sauce. Okay, we're ready to go and finish this dish off. To see on this plate here, I have the ingredients that are going to go in this dish besides the pork. I have some green onion, some red onion, and also some carrot to give it color. So I'm going to carefully slide this pork off into the oil. Then we're going to let it fry for maybe 3 or 4 minutes until it's crispy. And then we'll be back and I'll show you how to finish this up. Okay, now you can see that after 3 or 4 minutes later, the pork is nice and brown. What we're going to do is we're going to scoop it up, put it on the plate. and you can see how it's nice and crispy and golden brown. I'm going to take that oil like I did before, and I'm going to pour it back in the Fry Daddy. And now I'll just push the vegetables back into the wok. Because when you pour that oil off into the Fry Daddy, you always wind up with a little bit left. So you're going to stir fry that around a little bit. Then you're going to add your sauce. And when that comes to a boil, you're going to add your pork back in, coat the pork, and then you'll plate it up. This sauce is a cross between the sauce that they used to put on butterfly shrimp and sweet and sour sauce, so it's a little bit different. And there you have it. Chinese style sweet and sour pork cooked in your kitchen. I hope you've enjoyed this lesson.